Elegoo is going to bat for you when it comes to Chitubox and Chitu systems. We've got some new updates. Let's go over them. Hey, thanks again for joining us. Elegoo has gotten a response from Chitu systems. Let's read it. Hello, everyone. Following a few days of negotiations, we have made stepwise progress in communications with Chitubox regarding the .ctb format locking. Chitubox will release an SDK, which is a format conversion kit, software development kit that can be integrated into existing software, allowing the software to output the CTB format file very shortly. TM. In view of this, we have had a joint preliminary communication with Lychee and Chitubox. Lychee will conduct internal tests on the SDK file provided by Chitubox and will eventually determine the subsequent cooperation scheme depending on the test results. We also hope and welcome more community members, developers, and software manufacturers to join the testing process. Beyond that, customers who have purchased the Mars 3 don't need to worry about the expiration of Chitubox's Pro 1-year license, since you can still continue to apply the Chitubox Basic version after the expiration. Chitubox will continually develop the Chitubox Basic version to explore new features and do maintenance. We are sorry for the inconvenience this has occurred recently and strongly think that we should do something at this moment. We have decided to open source the structure for the Mars 3. Now, that's a big deal. Our team has already started the open source certification process. We will push forward to complete the certification and keep you up to date with any updates on our homepage. We are very grateful for the 3D printing community, all of you, for always steadfastly believing in and supporting Elegoo and lovingly helping each other promote the success of 3D printing work. Thank you to every one of you for making us do what we do today, Elegoo team. There's some pretty big news here. One, we have confirmation of the SDK, and I guess that means we bring out the stunt double. Gotta have the stunt double. We have some idea of what the SDK is going to have, which is this file conversion kit. Now, I am still confused as to why we need to do this anyways. The old CTB file format works fine. They're just locking it down solely because they can. Now, remember, this is not Elegoo. Elegoo is fighting for you. Lychee Slicer is fighting for you. We are fighting for you. And just like in that last video, which we will card to right here, all about this debacle, we will have that exact same letter for you in the description down below. We'll also place it in that top pinned comment so you guys can take a look at it. But understand here, this isn't where it stops. Chitu Systems has done this before. Clearly they've done this before. What is to keep them from changing things and bricking the software? Kneecapping it so that only legit copies from Chitubox Pro or even Chitubox Basic unlock all of these features. From a consumer standpoint, this is a step, but we don't have motion, right? We've got 1 foot forward, but I'm still a little hesitant about making that second step. And it appears that Elegoo kind of feels the same way here. But Elegoo dropped a bomb here that is kind of interesting. They're going to open source the Mars 3. And I think they're doing this to open source the board. And that board is the issue. Because realistically, the Mars 3 is just lights, screen, motors, board. It's the same as a Mars 2. It's the same as a Mars 2 Pro. They're basically the same machines, except for, okay, they look a little bit different, it's a little bit faster, it's a little bit bigger, but overall it's a very similar machine. I think that they're trying to kind of say, hey, Chitu Systems, play ball, or we're going to just open source your boards and there's nothing you can do about it. I could be wrong, but that's how I'm seeing it. Now, I want to know what you all think down in those comments below, because that's an interesting one to me, that they've decided to open source the structure of the Mars 3. Now, what the structure of the Mars 3 actually is, I don't have a shadow of a clue, but my guessing is that is going to be the software, the firmware, as well as the actual hard parts that go into producing a Mars 3. We'll find out when they get through that whole process. But inside of the Lychee Slicer Discord, we've got a response. Let me pull that up for you guys. Now, this comes directly from the Lychee Slicer team. So far, except some discussions with Elegoo, we don't really have more information than anyone else about this SDK. We are still waiting a reply from Chitu Systems that we reached several days ago. We don't know what will be the content of this SDK, the agreement itself, or the restrictions and more. We said to Elegoo that we can't answer the question if we will support this new file format through the SDK until we don't know more about it and the agreement. Perhaps we will support the file format, perhaps not. We are very reluctant to integrate some private code in our software coming from a competitor on the Slicer software side, as we don't know what this code can do beside doing the data export. On top of that, it can be unstable, slow, and degrading the user experience without anything that we can do to fix or improve it. However, if it's a paid agreement, there is a big chance that, depending on the price, that we will have to charge the users who own the printers using this file format, even if they are Lychee Slicer Pro users. It is a nonsense for us, as these users already paid Chitu Systems indirectly through the board that is in the printer. Then they will need to pay a second time. I agree here. There's not a great option until we get this SDK. And unfortunately, Lychee Slicer is incredibly reluctant in this because, well, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And fool me a third time, and you'll miss this segue to our sponsor, 3D Musketeers. That's right, we're going to continue to self-sponsor these episodes. As always, this one is sponsored by 3D Musketeers. If you want to get your ideas out of your head and into your hands with full art-to-part rapid prototyping and product development utilizing awesome technology like 3D printing, laser cutting, and CNC milling, reach out to us at 3D Musketeers. Links will be in the description down below. I don't blame Lychee Slicer here. This is a bad position to be in. If this SDK introduces so much other BS into the system, they might as well just throw it away and not bother. But until we get this SDK, which is soon TM, we don't know what's going to happen. And I hate to be in Elegoo's position right now. Elegoo is releasing the Mars 3. They actually just announced that they're going to be releasing a printer Monday, the day this video goes live. It's the Jupiter. Well, okay, it's definitely... that's Jupiter. They're going to be releasing a new printer. And this new printer is basically going to need this new board. And this new board and this new CTB file format is locked. Elegoo needs to continue to release their printers to stay relevant. They need to continue doing better to compete in the market, attempt to gain more market share, the things that businesses do. But Chitubox is literally just holding them ransom. If there's any financial implication to this SDK, like it needs to be paid for, such as Lychee Slicer was saying, there's all these other problems that we have to deal with as a community. And I think now more than ever, with Chitubox and Chitu Systems being very quiet and, well, guarded about all of this, that we need to look at making our own boards. Until we really get a hold on open source and keep companies from doing this, we can't, as a community, defend ourselves. Lychee Slicer, as a company, has got their hands completely tied. One of their team members says, it may sound like some marketing bull what I'll write now, but at Mango 3D, we really want to democratize 3D printing. The better this world will be, the more people will discover all the benefits it brings. On top of that, we don't like when a printer take the dust because it's too difficult / it doesn't work. I'm reading this verbatim. English is not their first language. Then we aim to make the 3D printing market more accessible with better tools, and nothing is better than competition to force everyone to move forward in making progress, doing innovation, and more. Then locking a business is going to be the other direction of our philosophy. What they're basically saying here is Chitubox and Chitu Systems is taking their ball and going home and saying, middle fingers to the rest of you, we don't care. You all have accepted the fact that you're going to use our boards. Too freaking bad. This is what happens when the company behind a incredibly heavily adopted technology and system decides that they're going to get a little money hungry. Why did Chitu Systems need to do this in the first place? Please, somebody answer this for me in the comments below. Why is this actually needed? Because if you ask me, it's not. All of my printers still work fine. There's literally nothing wrong with them. We just unboxed a Photon Mono X. Video coming soon. Make sure you get subscribed on that one. Like, literally, I think it's coming potentially Wednesday. Unless the Jupiter drop is crazy, then that's going to be our Wednesday video. But we just unboxed the Photon Mono X, and the thing is awesome from Anycube. And it works on the old system. It won't work on the new one without this freaking firmware flash. And that firmware flash keeps you from using systems like Lychee Slicer and other competitors out there. It's a pain in the butt. And for guys like me, whose computers absolutely hate Chitubox version 1.9, we'll card to that video as well, where it quite literally bricked my computer and I had to load a backup. Data backups are important. Macrium is totally free. If you want, I'll do a video on it. But data backups, keep your data backed up. But if it wasn't for that, I'd be SOL, and I don't know if I can use a software that bricked my computer like that. It's kind of dangerous. And Lychee Slicer has every reason to be concerned as well. If this SDK slugs down their software as part of the SDK, right? Because you can put whatever you want into an SDK. Their software could become unusable, unstable, and unrealistic, and especially because Lychee Slicer is charging people for their pro version. That's not all that expensive. It's $30 for your first year, and then I think it goes up to $50 after that. It's not that bad. Which, by the way, we're going to be doing a comparison between Lychee free and Lychee paid. So if you want to see that, let me know down in those comments as well. We don't have an answer. And I want to be clear here. The community is clearly in support of this. 110 likes, 21 retweets, and 5 quote tweets. That's a big deal for a company like Elegoo. Elegoo is going to bat, and they're not staying quiet about it. I love this, right? The more press this all gets, the more pressure goes on Chitu Systems to actually get their crap together and do this right. At the end of the day, Chitu Systems is not only hurting themselves, but they're hurting all the other manufacturers, right? Again, Anycubic, Epax, Elegoo, even the Peopoly. Peopoly is now using Chitu boards in some of their more affordable systems. Among many other companies. I mean, there's Frozen. I'm sure I'm missing some. Every one of these companies is going to see some pain from this. Elegoo specifically, because they are pushing these new printers like they're a bad habit. And I don't mind that, because Elegoo clearly knows what they're doing. They make a great printer. But if you can't have a good software, then the printer doesn't matter. Now, this format is encrypted, the CTB, and it has been cracked. But Lychee Slicer is not really willing to comment on what they're doing with this yet. Because ultimately, what has been done here is this new file format is fully encrypted, which keeps any of the other slicers from being able to use it. Now, the crack has already been done, so of course the encryption wasn't great. But it is kind of a less than political way of handling the workaround, and it's gonna create animosity. If all of these companies and competitors can come together and decide on a system that works, everybody can move forward with shaking hands rather than knives behind their backs, which is not what we want here, right? We want these companies to participate, work together, try not to hurt each other would be great. This is probably my favorite tweet here. So, at the Zooza, could this be integrated into Prusa Slicer maybe? IDK, how it works. Mikolas Zooza works for Prusa Research. You can check out his Twitter. and what he does. He's the computer graphics engineer working at Prusa 3D. He said, maybe, but I'm honestly not super excited about fixing their mess. And then Tom, Mr. Tom Sandlanderer. If you love 3D printing, go subscribe to Tom. We'll card to his channel so you can take a look. He says, I'm also missing some key points about the SDK, licensing, cost, and capability. Using third-party slicers has the potential to be a paid premium light feature tied to terms that limit what the third-party slicer can do or include restrictions that limit the SDK's file performance. And I absolutely agree with Tom here. Until we get this SDK, we don't know how far this thing is taking a baseball bat to my backside versus just letting us run free. And yes, that's a bad back joke. And we were supposed to have it by now. We were supposed to have it in early August. We still don't have it. So, yeah, the longer this thing plays out, the more I get upset. Because it's hurting the entire industry. This resin 3D printer industry was, you know, just kind of here. Then all of a sudden, the Photon came out, Anycubic Photon, and it went like that. And then the Mars came out, and the freaking thing went interplanetary. It's like Elon Musk throwing a freaking roadster on a Falcon Heavy to take it around the sun because he can. This industry took off overnight. And what's happening? We were still on this trajectory. Yeah, we were kind of flattening out. We're flatlined. And we're waiting for a nurse to come in with a crash cart to start doing some chest compressions on this patient because no, you don't shock somebody when their heart is stopped. Television has completely screwed you on this. I'm so sorry. But we got to start doing some chest compressions on this industry because these new printers are going to flop if we can't get the software figured out. This 3D printing industry was built around open consumption for all, right? Rapid replication of machines, the RepRap project. It was built around accessibility, usability, friendliness, and of course competition. But when somebody else just says middle fingers to you, I don't care anymore, and they're the ones that everybody has been using, we found ourselves in a bit of a problem. And unfortunately, I'm not certain where to go here. We've sent out some emails. We're going to keep sending out communication. We're going to try to open some dialogue here. But mind you, we're just a tiny little company in a field of really big fish. I don't know what to do here. And part of me says I want to build a community of people that want to make a board that works in these printers, but I don't know how to do that. I have 2 business degrees. Now, of course, we do have electrical engineers on staff. We've got production engineers on staff. But these guys also have day jobs. They work for us. There's a lot going on in these people's lives. And, well, we can't just shut down our company to dedicate on these boards. So if you want to help us, I'm going to put a Google form in that top pinned comment in the description as well, where you can sign up. I want to build like a community of people that can do this kind of thing. And we can get together and actually work on maybe having a secondary solution. We can open up talks with all the major manufacturers. This isn't that difficult, especially considering what's going on right now. And see what we can do to try and solve this problem. Now, we've still got this issue of distribution, right? The Mars 3 is done. It's in the hands of reviewers already, and they're taking pre-orders. So we would have to sell an upgrade board that somebody would have to buy, and that gets a little bit muddy. I'm just not sure what to do. So if you have a good idea, let me know in those comments, because honestly, I feel like we have to do something, but I know me as a singular person, I can't do a ton. 1,500 subscriber YouTube channel isn't going to have a lot of movement here either. So if you guys want to help us, let me know. I'll put that form down there and you guys can fill it out. Anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts about this SDK. It appears that, well, Lychee Slicer isn't holding out hope. And unfortunately, neither am I. Chitu Systems has proven to be a little bit sneaky in the past, and that's the nice way of saying it. And I'm concerned that even if we can, like, edge out a win here, it's only going to last for so long. And I know Vin Diesel says it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile, winning is winning. But the next race is coming soon. And if we have to fight this every single time, we don't maintain this same progress that we're making in this industry. I don't know what to tell you guys here. And, you know, I want to believe that you guys are my family because we only race for family. But I just feel like Chitu Systems found themselves on the wrong side of greed, and it really frustrates me. Because Soraya Tech is behind this, I would guess that Anycubic is behind this, Elegoo is clearly behind this, Lychee Slicer is behind this. All the big manufacturers, I would guess, if they're not being public about it, are likely fighting behind the scenes, or at least talking to each other saying, oh my god, what can we do? And we as users are kind of finding ourselves in that same position. So I would love your help. Let me know in those comments, what do you guys think we should do? I want to build a team of people and I want to make boards. I don't know if I can get enough people with all that experience, time, and money, but hey, let's try. What's the worst? We build a whole community of people that love to make custom circuit boards and believe in open source. I feel like that'd be kind of cool. Anyways, guys, stay safe out there. Don't be jerks to each other. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. If you like open source and love to 3D print, then you're going to love our first video on Lychee Slicer right below me. Next to it is going to be the video all about this first Chitubox debacle, because this is the update video. Again, guys, let me know your thoughts down in those comments below. I want to know how you're feeling and what you believe we can do as a community to try and get things back to the way they used to be. I'll see you down in those comments. Take care.